कि हमने तो पानी की बोतल जा रही है यार।
पता है मुझे, मैंने हाथ में क्यों पकड़ रखा है इनकी।
लैंड पे भी पहुँचेगी बाइक में।
कॉटन निकाल, कॉटन निकाल जाकर। हाँ
In a few minutes we are going to start the seminar. We are thankful to all the delegates who have shown their presence here till now. Thank you, sir. Thank you. All the delegates who have done come till now would have filled the registration forms. In a few minutes we are going to start. आपको देख के असर हो रहा है। नशा छा रहा है। warm good morning from myself, Shashank Chaudhary, Faculty, Management Department, IT.
And I'm Swati Sharma.
We welcome you for the skills and sustainable entrepreneurship development with a special reference to small scale and digital ventures. It has been highlighted by many association bodies that dividend, and more than 50% of our population is below 30. This potential can be utilized for growth and development of our nation if we are able to meet the challenge of producing innovative, skillful. In the light of this challenge, skill development and entrepreneurship development becomes a major area for deliberation and policy formulation. Government initiative in this regard, in the form of Skill India movement, Digital India, Startup India, and Make in India, can be really instrumental for growth. However, awareness at grassroots level of these policies is imperative for groundbreaking results. This seminar aims to address this requirement of not only creating a vital role in sustainable entrepreneurship development.
A very good morning once again. As the objective of our today's seminar is to discuss the role of regarding the various provisions relating to the new provisions regarding the new business formations, the various changes that have been taken in the past and the impact over the society like digital ventures, etc., the role of government policies, programs and economic policies relating to the small-scale industry. As regarding the national seminar, we have the various sub-themes like the role of academia and industry for the skill development for entrepreneurship, e-entrepreneurship and emergence of the digital ventures, etc., social entrepreneurship and corporate social responsibilities, the role of government policies, programs and economic policies relating to the new business ventures, the role of incubators, venture capitalists and facilitators relating to the promotion of the business organizations, and the entrepreneurship, sustainable entrepreneurship development, the innovative measures and strategies. So I once again welcome you all to today's national seminar.
An important announcement we would like to make is that Professor Dr. N.K. Taneja, Vice Chancellor CCA Tourism University, who was supposed to be the chief guest for the seminar, because of some unforeseen circumstances, he is not available and he has sent his apologies also in this regard. We have requested Mr. K.K. Roy, CEO of FIT IIT Delhi, to be the chief guest along with the guest of honor, and he has kindly agreed for it also. So now, continuing the glorious tradition of taking the blessings of Master Saraswati before starting any auspicious occasion, I request on behalf of IPM institutions, our Executive Director Dr. B.S. Goyal sir, our Director General Dr. S. Malhotra sir, our Chief Guest for the seminar Mr. K.K. Roy, CEO of FIT IIT Delhi, our Guest of Honor Mr. D.D. Maheshwari, Director DART Advisors, Mr. Rishi Raj Singh, Keynote Speaker, who is the Director of NISBET, and along with Dean Academics Dr. Sugandha Goyal, and HOD Management Dr. Dolly Clips, take the blessings of Master.
Yeah.
Lady Maheshwari, and our keynote speaker, Mr. Rishiraj Singh, to please come on the dais and take their respective seats, please.
For the inaugural session. So let me acknowledge first the presence of our eminent guest for the inaugural session, Mr. M.C. Verma, retired IAS and a Chairman Management Advisory Board as a presiding speaker. Mr. K.T. Roy, Chief of would like to felicitate our eminent guest for being with us in today's session. Welcome, sir. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir. Thank you very much.
I would kindly request Mr. Anupam. Thank you.
Keynote speaker for the inaugural session is Dr. Rishiraj Singh, who is the Director, NISBAT and Training Officer. We request our Dean Academics of IPM, Dr. Suvinder Goyal, to please welcome Dr. Rishiraj Singh with a memento gift and bouquet. Thank you very much. Thank you, sir.
It's my proud presence in India and abroad, and sir has an excellent reports throughout. He was the rare distinction who's being awarded as a Chief of Army Commendation Card twice, which is for the integrity, honesty, and devotion towards the duty. Sir has set a personal example for all the people in the army. He has served Indian IIT Delhi for 13 years, and that time period has been recognized as a highest order by all the staff and faculties of IIT. He was the only administrative officer in the history of the IIT who was awarded as a star of IIT. Sir has throughout his 39 years of experience, 26 years in Indian Army and 13 years in IIT Delhi, Sir has been always praised by one and all. As Sir is a part of our IPM family for more than 10 years, and Sir is always an inspiration source for the hard work and commitment towards the duty. I kindly request Director Sir to please come on stage and deliver the welcome address.
For showering all the praises which I really do not deserve, and still very grateful to you. I hope I come to the expectation of our own institution, that is the Institute of Professional Excellence in Management. Now, it's my proud privilege to welcome on behalf of our Executive Director, Dr. B.S. Goyal, the management, faculty and staff, to Mr. K.K. Roy, who is the Chief Operating Officer of the Foundation for Innovation Technology Transfer IIT Delhi, Mr. M.C. Verma, who is also Chairman Management Advisory Board of our institute, and Mr. D.D. Maheshwari, Guest of Honor, who is the Director DIE and Advisor Management Consulting Firm, and Dr. Rishiraj Singh, who is the Keynote Speaker and Director Training Officer NISBAT, and Mr. Deepak Malik, who is an eminent speaker, Management Advisory Board member, as well as even the Chairman of the Ghaziabad Management Association, and Mr. Vivek Srivastava and Mr. D.K. Gupta, who will be judging the presentation during the afternoon session also. Now, coming to this particular thing, I am really grateful to each one of them, and on behalf of the Institute, that they have spared their valuable time despite the inclement weather and despite all the hurdles that were there in the traffic jam, etc. and all that. Now, coming to the next point, as regards the, it's my proud privilege since I have been, as was introduced, that I have been here for the more than 10 years or so to tell you something about our institute, something about the place where I have been serving for that. First of all, a couple of things which you already will be knowing and some of the things which will not be known to some of the people who have come first. Then our institute was established in 1996. That means it was around 20 years. As the name itself suggests, Institute of Professional Excellence and Management. The word excellence is incorporated in the name itself, and so it's 20 years of excellence. Ours was the first institute to start the BCA program in the entire NCR region and affiliated to the Chaudhry Charan Singh University, thereafter in BBA. We are in ISO 9001-2008 certified that talks about the procedures, etc., which are there, the administrative functions. We are also having the NAC accreditation for our BEd department and also for our law department, other than research. We are also a PhD research center for our management programs, in which lots of our faculty are guiding various research scholars from within the organization as well as outside candidates also. And most consistently we have been ranked among the top 2-3 institutions in the management area and in the other area. We are perhaps the one single moment proud is that as far as the BEd program is concerned, everybody and everybody acknowledges that our BEd program is the best in the NCR, where there are more than 300 colleges affiliated to the Chaudhry Charan Singh University. We were also given the award, Indian Achievers Award, as the best academic excellence institute in 2013. Shiksha Bharati Award to Dr. B.S. Goyal for his outstanding contribution to the field of education. We have academic alliances with Microsoft, Wipro, Mahindra and Mahindra. We are also a member of the IMA, GMA, CSI, AIMS, SSGT Road and Rotary, etc. Let me also now tell a few words about our founder executive director, Dr. B.S. Goyal, who has got over 55 years of teaching and research experience in India and abroad. He has taught both in traditional colleges as well as in professional colleges, etc. and held various administrative positions at the level of director besides being a professor in the areas of quantitative techniques, statistics, research methodology, and he still continues to teach. And I also want to mention here that he continuously keeps himself updated by visiting, say, IIMs, Law University, or whatever is happening in the US or whatever is happening in the UK with various our family members who are over there that way. And then he has also visited number of other colleges. He has been visiting professors in IMT, etc. He has written several books also on operational research, research methodology, marketing research, etc. And this is of course one of the things. And he's been a continuous or constant source of inspiration for all of us. And this I can say with great pride. And it's a great honor and great privilege for a person like me to be serving under him and in this particular institution. And above all, he's a great family man, a great human being and a teacher, and as well as an example for all of us also. Coming to the next one, and he is ably supported for this particular venture by our Dean Academics, Dr. Sugandha Goyal and Mr. Anupam Goyal for all the administrative support. Without them, it will be difficult for the institute to be running. Then, coming to the courses that we conduct, we have MBA, MCA, MAF, PGDM courses, which are at the postgraduate level, which are approved by the All India Council for Technical Education, and they are, except PGDM, are all accredited to the Dr. APJ Abdul Kalam Technical University, Lucknow. The second area of our operation is the LLB and BA LLB courses, which are approved by the Bar Council of India and affiliated to Chaudhry Charan Singh University. Then the third is BEd program, that is the 200 seats, 2 years BEd program, and PTC, another 2-year program, which is approved by NCT and CCSU. We are also in the process of starting a MAT program shortly, for which due approvals are already on the way, and some of them have already been obtained. We also propose to start another BEd program at the Jindal Nagar campus, the 100 seats also, for which the process is going on. So there is a continuous development. And we have a sister institute of ours, which is the Aryan Institute of Technology, which runs various engineering courses in the areas of mechanical engineering, civil engineering, computer science, and electronic communication, and also the MBA program besides the diploma program. Each of these particular 4 areas that I mentioned, that is the management, computer, IT, law, and the B.Ed or the education program, there is an advisory board for all these three. And as you would have said in the introduction, that there are members of the advisory board also here and the chairman of the advisory board who are here. Then, as far as the next point is coming regarding the students, that our students come from the diverse background. They come from all over the country. Some of them from CBSE, some of them from UP Board, some of them the other university. There are boys, there are girls from different religions, different languages, economic background, rural, urban background or so. But when they come to the IPM, they are one. They are one. And for that we conduct, to start with itself, an orientation program in which everybody is put to the same grade. So everybody is treated equally and absolutely impartially. Then all the teaching learning process that takes place, that action, our teaching is basically oriented toward the student. Not that what I know, but what the student wants to know, or what is the level of the student. Accordingly, all the teachers, they sort of educate keep their syllabus in such a manner that it is understood by the student. Because our students are the brand ambassadors for us. Certain common features which are there in all the courses is the regularity, attendance of classes, discipline, and these are the hallmarks of our institute in all the 4 areas that I mentioned to. No indiscipline or regular, and we are fortunate and we are rather proud to say that for the last 20 years there has not been a single untoward incident in the complete institute. Then some of the other things which are very common, which were recently introduced about 2 years back, are the students' club. Now there are 4 areas of the student clubs, that is the communication club, information technology club, cultural club, sports club. They hold intra, that is within the institute or within the department itself, and the inter-unit department itself, and then inter-institutional. So these things are all done by the institute, by the students themselves. They conceptualize an event, they organize that event, they conduct that event, and have the feedback, and all are encouraged, all the students are encouraged with guidance from the faculty to participate in them. Next, I should say the most important portion as far as the next to the students is our faculty. Faculty is the strength of the institute, and we have all full-time experienced faculty, and as per the organization, the intake, most of the faculty are PhD, and they are other net qualified. They are also encouraged to improve their qualification, and as soon as a person gets the PhD degree or has a higher qualification, they are given certain incentives also, and they are encouraged even giving extra leave, etc. for part. Faculty are also encouraged to participate in the various seminars, workshops, also writing the books. A number of our faculty have written books also and published various articles, and evaluation of, they also participate in evaluation of the answer books, etc., and conducting the practicals both from the Chaudhry Charan Singh University as well as the Dr. APJ Abdul Kalam. One of the important functions that the faculty employs is acting as mentors to our students to solve both their academic as well as personal problems, and they are available to them on 24/7 online with them. So all the students are in touch with their respective faculty of the department or the people who are teaching them through their mail IDs or through WhatsApp or through social sites, etc. Regular feedback and fortnightly reports are obtained from the faculty so as to continuous improvement, etc. They are all dedicated and very stable. Most of them have been, those who have joined, have been here for the last 6 to 8 years or even more than that. Another point that I want to touch upon is that teaching and learning process. We follow the timetable strictly. No classes are missed over here. We are proud to say that, and there is a regular feedback. The teaching is based on the lecture, tutorial, and practical or presentation, etc. structure. And that is, we have found that this particular structure is giving good results also. Students are given the questionnaire, etc. in advance. Certain categories of students are provided the book bank also, and additional library card where it is required are provided to them. Then course coverage plan, regular feedback is obtained so that there is no class or there is no particular subject or there is no particular topic that has missed out also. Class notes are given, online assignments are given to the students, and all the teaching that takes place is through LCD projectors and through lecture notes, etc. and practical in the lab. There are PPTs also given to the students, and small project exercises are also provided to them, and this is supplemented by various training films or industrial visits or social, cultural awareness, and no teacher is sort of missing a particular class. There are also to take care of the special extra attention is given to them, and so that they also come up with that. And special revisionary classes in some areas are conducted on Saturdays and Sundays also, so that in case a particular person has missed a particular class on normal working day, he or she can be substituted for that. In addition to the normal academic program which we have to follow as per the university norm, we also have certain value-added programs, both in the areas of information technology, because information technology is one area which is developing or which is changing very fast. So we have to keep abreast with that, going beyond the syllabus also. So certain areas which are the current requirement of the market, they are added as value-added program. Similarly in the marriage, similarly in the law, beyond the syllabus these things are taking place. And for this, in addition to that, because not only that students have to be very good as far as the academic is concerned, but they have to be also employable. And to have that employability, there are requirement of developing their personality. So we have regular classes for the personality development program, communication skills, soft skills, overcoming the stress management, yoga classes, etc. You will LCD projectors, etc. and whiteboards, etc. All the labs are there, which are with the latest software and hardware. There is communication lab, computer software lab, science, arts and crafts, psychology, ICT, mathematics, mood board, music, etc. We not only the aims and not only this academic and the extra value-added program, but there is also requirement to have their healthy life. And for that, the sports activity, both outdoor and indoor facilities have been provided. To provide for the outstation candidates, outstation students, we have the separate boy hostel and girl hostel, and also a small guest house where some of the guests can be accommodated. In addition, a well-organized cafeteria is there, medical facilities are there, bookshops are there, photocopying facilities are there, and to conduct certain other programs, we have seminar halls, conference halls, lecture theatres, etc. 7 separate cabins have been provided for each faculty, and they are independent to be able to work over there without any disturbance. Organization is the library. We have in each department a separate library, and we have a central library also. I am proud to say that we may be having the largest number of titles as well as the number of volumes that are available in any particular library who are dealing in this particular subject, whether it is the education or whether it is the law or whether it is the management or the functions of the library have been fully computerized and all that. There are a large number of international and national journals which are available in our library, and it's a great facility that is available, and this is just to encourage the people to go for higher studies as well as students to them. Since the faculty as well as the research scholars are encouraged to write papers, write articles, we have our own journal also, and we have a newsletter which are present biannual or so. We are also now expanding the particular activity of the journal. Previously we were having one, now we are going to have 4 journals, one for separate for it, one for the education, one for the computer writing, one for the law, and one for the management also. So this is 2 journals in 1 year, 2 journals in next year. As a regular practice also, we are also not only as well as the academic institution, we are part of the society. So certain things we are as a part of the society we undertake is what we call the corporate social responsibility. Every year we have a blood donation camp in which the faculty, staff and students participate in collaboration with the Rotary, Greater Ghaziabad, and we have been donating blood every year or so. We also hold literacy camp around for the people staying in the villages around. Legal aid camps are also organized at those places. We also have a legal aid clinic. We were the first institute in the whole Ghaziabad district to have a legal aid clinic, industry or academia, at which the function a great success. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Our MBA students have also prepared some documentaries. These are the synthesis of different videos which are available regarding the different initiatives taken by Government of India since 2015. Some of them are Make in India, Digital India, Startup India, Skill India, etc. So we will be showcasing these documentaries also during the program. To start with, the first documentary we are going to showcase in front of you, and that is on Skill India, and it has been prepared by one of our MBA students, that is Mr. Rizwan Ahmed. So I will request the people backstage to please start the documentary.
तुझ में है जो कौशल, कदर उसकी अब तू जान। इन हाथों में औजारों के साथ अब कलम भी तू था। दिखा दे दुनिया को ये हुनर अपना, कैसे बनता है तेरे हाथ छूकर ये मिट्टी सोना। हिंदुस्तान के हर कौशल को कामयाबी के शिखर तक पहुंचाना है। इस देश में है हुनर कितना, दुनिया को दिखाना है। कौशल भारत, कुशल भारत।
We will start it with the address of the presiding speaker of our seminar, and the presiding speaker of the national seminar is Mr. M.C. Verma, who is a retired IAS and is also the chairman of Management Advisory Board of IBM Group Institutions. I would like to take the opportunity of providing a brief introduction of Mr. M.C. Verma. Mr. M.C. Verma has extensive research experience in various countries like Nigeria, Kenya, Ethiopia, Seychelles, and Senegal in Africa, as well as Thailand, Japan, Philippines, Nepal, Bangladesh, Cambodia, and Malaysia in Asia, to name a few. He is MSc Statistics with Econometrics from Lucknow University, first class first, and he also received PG Diploma in Statistics, as well as SIICAR from New Delhi, also first class first. He has received education in planning from International Institute of Education Planning, UNESCO Paris, and he has also done manpower planning and management competency from Manchester University. He has done in-depth study visits of several UK governments, departments. He was a lecturer of statistics also in Lucknow University before joining IAS. Mr. M.C. Verma was a consultant of
Good morning, everybody. Very happy to be here this morning. I must also start by telling you that this seminar has been timed perfect. The President of India is hosting one-week festival on innovation starting today at the Rashtrapati Bhavan. So what we are assisting the government by dealing with all these issues here, and this is the most opportune time to discuss some of those issues. So I must congratulate the IBM for taking up this responsibility and trying to tell all of us what all is involved in entrepreneurship and innovations. Innovation and skills are essential components of entrepreneurship in general, but they are also equally important, sometimes more important, for economic growth of the country. We claim to have more than 7% economic growth, and we want to reach the levels or at the current Chinese GDP per capita, and that requires not only 7%, it requires much higher growth. Now, if a simple economic proposition is taken, 7%, maximum 8% is what the economists will tell on the basis of current experience, capital formation, savings rate and other ones. But if we want to reach 9-10%, we have got to bring out something more. And that something more is more and more entrepreneurs, more and more innovation, not only Jugaad but something much higher. And this is what is required in the current situation of the country, because for our kind of population growth and our kind of aspirations of youth and the increase of something like 10 to 12 million young persons in the labor force every year, we have got to do much more than what has been possible so far. The ADB, the World Bank, the other organizations may be happy with our 7%, but it is not sufficient for our aspirations. And all young people certainly want to have much better life, much better facilities, and much better organization of things in the country, which of course includes good governance. But today we are not discussing the issues of good governance, but entrepreneurship and skill development should be considered part of good governance. I would like to ask some questions, because we have very important speakers ahead of us who are very knowledgeable in different areas. We have someone from FITT, the Foundation for Innovation and Technology, which is available not only in the IIT Delhi but also other 4 IITs which were set up earlier, and we have others. So I would like to certainly ask some. Academia has a role, but as I find in many discussions in the CUTS International, in the government mandated seminars and so on, not many universities and not many colleges have been able to set up a incubation center for innovations, for startup. Not many universities, and that includes a university like Delhi, which is one of the biggest universities in the country. So we have to think of how to find extra resources for this purpose. In any case, what is being recommended by experts is that each technical college at least, each management institution at least, should have a cell for developing as an incubation center. The existing professors can move into that, they can find some time and let it develop as things move in the industry around. And I'm sure IPM will also move in that direction. We were I was particularly hoping to see the Vice Chancellor of the UPTU and to ask him some questions as to how he proposes to assist the technical colleges and institutions which are under his prison. But unfortunately he is not here. But we would like to convey this to him, that he has to also find some resources for individual institutions. A lot of startups, the number appears to be somewhere close to 4,000, have already come up. Now he has, on that, the government has recently promised 1,500 government means union government, multi-skilling institutes. And for us, encourage that spirit of risk taking and so on. But what we see in some of the institutions is that we don't have enough teachers with the right innovative spirit of themselves to teach entrepreneurs. It's a major problem. You see, if you want to set up something like 10 million ventures, you have to do a lot of work on developing expertise of the teachers themselves.
Our chief guest, It's my proud privilege to introduce Sir in front of all of you. Sir is a technocrat with a brilliant academic background. He is having a very rich career experience in the industry, government and professional outfits in supporting conducively technological developments, transfer of assimilation, absorption by industry. Sir is also a co-founder of Business Incubation Unit in FITT IIT Delhi. Sir has several success stories and learning experiences which has an immense value for practitioners, learners of a new
Very good morning, all of you. People in well. Morning, Manokra, speakers, writing dignitaries, participants, and particularly students alike. I'm extremely grateful to the organization for inviting me to share my experiences, particularly on this startup subject, innovation subject, which is so much of readiness to do. What I will do basically, I will So the talking points will, so let me give a background. I am in IIT Delhi since almost last 23 years. IIT Delhi, it is one of the most renowned institutes of technologies. But then institutes of such eminent research institutes coming out with research results, patents and research papers do hardly any service to the society unless those researchers translated into economic goods and services for the society and reaches to the end users. So that is where we actually fit in. And as early as 90s, 92, 93, we were a separate institute totally dedicated to translating academic knowledges into industrial goods, consumer goods, and other value additions to R&D institutes and to relevant end users. So as part of this, we are not only the SSC, we were involved with the technology transfers, in the knowledge management, in transfer of technology, IP management, intellectual property. That's most important for any business. We mean by entrepreneurship, what is a startup, what is incubation, and then I'll sum it up all with what exactly we have been doing it for the last 20 years at IIT Delhi, and also setting up a model which other institutions of importance have picked up from us. Right? So to start with innovation, everybody talks of innovation. What is innovation? Innovation, it is implementing new ideas, creates dynamic products, or improves existing services. See, be it any entrepreneurial activity, whether in a small business, enterprise, or in a medium or small scale, what will happen? Ultimately, in coming days, testing them whether it works, and then actually converting them into goods and other services, then it will retain its competitive advantage. So that is what is important for any business entity today is sustainability. The moment it comes, it has to scale up, it has to diversify, and it has to meet the various needs of the consumers. Only then it can sustain and grow in the long run. So there comes the importance of innovation. And those innovations has to be by the leaders in that organizations, that how it percolates to the other members down the chain in that organizations, how the customers' responses are, or how they can bring up new services, or bring about a change in the outreaching exercises, so that greater and greater segments of the consumers are benefited. That is precisely the role of innovations. Coming with new ideas, which can bring about a change in the product, change in the production's method, change in the business service model. Industries are particularly vulnerable That's as it was evident after 90s when the liberalization process was set on, that you have to cope up with competitions. And to cope up with competitions, you need to have competitive advantages. And to have that competitive advantages, you need to have access to the technology and knowledge which can give you that proprietariness to convert your products, processes or services into value-added entities which can meet the consumer demands, which can bring in new consumers, and which will. But what is invention? Invention often starts with an idea. And where do the ideas come? Academic institutes. That is the place where knowledge actually generates. And be it any production factor or the factors in any services, it is basically knowledge driven, which ultimately has to match with the skill. So all these things, reaching new skill, getting new ideas and translating them into products, etc. These are innovative in the making, innovations in the making. Why I say innovation in the making? Innovation is not just an idea. Innovation is translating that idea into the end results which actually will reach the satisfaction level of the consumer. Right? This is what is innovation. And it creates very efficient work process in a changing environment. Today the big factor is the environment. So the production method has to change, the carbon emission has to decrease. So this imposes the restrictions of the quality and the type of technology that you are actually pursuing in the process industry or production industry. So innovation-driven enterprises, they can cope up with the challenges, can therefore enable themselves to be sustainable in the long run. Now, what are the key steps in a business? It is to analyze the market environment, how the market is changing, how the consumer's behavior is changing, what are the customers want, and then be open to new ideas and adapt. So therefore, the need of the hour is, encouraging having an innovation culture in any type of organizations, even if it is an academic institute. The students should be given some sphere, to some space to come out, to ventilate out their ideas. Some sort of quizzes, competitions where they are allowed to guess or even some sort of thinking process, so that they just to have an orientation towards thinking differently, not just the sort of monotonous the sort of things they are used to. Now ideas originate. Actually ideas encourage businesses. That is the power of ideas. From those ideas, the brainstorming, when similar-minded or like-minded few students come together, they can think of, okay, this is a new idea, because after they have been studying this is the societal needs, and therefore can you meet that? So that is the starting point of an entrepreneur. It is the entrepreneur first, then comes the entrepreneur unit, then through their entrepreneurships, and then through incubation, through the model of incubation and other network services, it turns into enterprise, and then comes the scaling up, sustainability, and it goes into a big venture. In between the supporting services are the techno, legal, commercial, high net worth individuals, angel investors, venture capitalists, whatever will come up. So this is how the incubator will come up. But then next, I'll touch on what is we cannot have group ideas that will be all diverse. There is an cohesive effort to come, agree, let others come to that idea, and that is the beginning of a business in the making. It is the ideation, then it is the incubation, and then the innovations comes in, and then through other network things, the enterprises develops. This is the new business in the making. And for the existing business, particularly small and medium enterprises, the rule is, if you want to sustain in the long run, be dynamic every day in your thinking process, in your implementation process, in your human resource process, and also how to interact with the customers, their feedback, etc. Now, enterprise can include any other combination. It can be a new product, it can be new production method, it's a new market, or new forms of organizations, right? Or see, for example, simple, any of the startups, I'm speaking, in IITs, for example, when we nurture innovations, some of the ideas on which the work is maybe ink from vegetable oil, not from volatile organic carbon compounds, no emission. It is a friendly, it's a green technology. Similarly, there are other, I will come down later when I'll touch upon this, what FIT has been doing. Then I will come to the concept of startup. We talk about startup. What is a startup? The startup is basically, it is now defined to be where startup is an entity qualifies for a startup if within the 5 years from the date of incorporation. Within that 5 years, if the startup succeeds, it will continue, otherwise into a micro or a small or medium enterprises, or otherwise the startup concept dies. It's no more a startup. And then in any particular year, if its turnover crosses 25 crores, it is no more a startup. And then most important is the startup must work on some innovations towards development or deployment or commercialization of new products, process or service driven by technology or intellectual property. That is important. The startup must have proprietary business. It should not encroach on others' business. If there is any sort of infringement, etc., the very first day the startup will die. So it has to be its own innovative product or process, and then perfectly, they need to perfect that product or process to a stage where it is marketable, and then only through the test marketing it should go towards the market. That is the startup. So therefore, a new business starts with the startup, which is having a proprietary idea, and the idea is for coming out with a new product, or a new method of producing the product, or a new process, or any services, but that leverages a proprietary technology or an intellectual property. Cannot be formed by splitting an existing organizations. That is not permitted. A startup has to be a new one which is always some key personnel who actually starts leading a startup, having their innovative idea. So innovation teams up with like-minded entrepreneur to form the startup. And then comes incubation. Now what is incubation? Now for example, an individual who is having a bright idea, as an individual doesn't have access to any sort of mechanisms, supportive mechanisms. Business essentially needs not just idea, but you need translating that into the products or process. Now offers everything from virtual support. What is a virtual support? When some entrepreneur or a budding entrepreneur, first level entrepreneur comes to the incubator, the virtual support means you enlist with through email whatever you want, access to your mentors, access to advisors, access to legal experts, access to high net worth individuals, access to some company secretary, accounts personnel who can help you with the compliance mechanism, etc. Now this is virtual. Through me, I am enabling all service providers which are needed in the business so that the ideator, the first level entrepreneur, he doesn't feel left out. Now this is virtual incubator. Second is physical incubator. Is in an educational institute. When you come up with an organized, sort of a cell where you have all the physical facilities available, added with the laboratory facilities, library facilities, mentoring capability, whether they are working in the correct directions, legal services, financial services, commercial services, connecting them to the needed marketing partners, and going through the legal, the term sheets, etc. Then that is what is an incubator. Now, essentially nowadays you find that all academic institutes are equipping. I will be ready to share my experience with you at any time. Thank you.
Thank you very much, sir, for entrepreneurship, innovation, and the measures at FIT IIT Delhi. We are really honored by your precious presence in the seminar and greatly benefited by your knowledge and expertise on entrepreneurship. Now moving ahead, we have one more documentary prepared by Mr. Desh of MBA PDDM for second semester, and I will request the people backstage to please showcase the documentary.
सरकारी सेवाएं इलेक्ट्रॉनिक रूप से जनता तक पहुंच सके। इस योजना का उद्देश्य ग्रामीण इलाकों को हाई स्पीड इंटरनेट के माध्यम से जोड़ना है। डिजिटल इंडिया के 3 मुख्य भाग हैं। पहला, डिजिटल इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर को तैयार करना। दूसरा, इलेक्ट्रॉनिक रूप से सेवाओं को जनता तक पहुंचाना। तीसरा, डिजिटल साक्षरता। ये एक अंतर मंत्रालयीय पहल है जहां सभी मंत्रालय तथा विभाग अपनी सेवाएं जनता तक पहुंचाएंगे, जैसे कि स्वास्थ्य, शिक्षा और न्यायिक सेवा आदि। चयनित रूप से पब्लिक प्राइवेट पार्टनरशिप PPP मॉडल को अपनाया जाए, जबकि इसमें लीगल फ्रेमवर्क, गोपनीयता का अभाव, डाटा सुरक्षा नियमों की कमी, भारतीय ई सर्विलांस के लिए संसदीय निगरानी की कमी तथा भारतीय साइबर सुरक्षा जैसी कई महत्वपूर्ण कमियां भी हैं। डिजिटल इंडिया को पूरा करने से पहले सभी कमियों को दूर करना भारत सरकार की संस्था भारत ब्रॉडबैंड नेटवर्क लिमिटेड नेशनल ऑप्टिकल फाइबर नेटवर्क जैसी परियोजनाओं को शुरू करेगी, जो डिजिटल इंडिया कार्यक्रम की देखरेख करेगी।
Thank you, sir. Thank you very much. Mr. D.D. Maheshwari, who is the Director, DAG Advisor. I would like to take the privilege of introducing yourself to Mr. D.D. Maheshwari, who needs no introduction as such. Mr. D.D. Maheshwari at present is holding the position of Director, DAG Advisor. Mr. Maheshwari worked in various sectors like chemicals, pharmaceuticals, sugar, infrastructure, multi-brand retailing, industrial marketing, business development, corporate training and startups. He did his graduation Bachelor of Engineering Honours from Chemical Engineering from BITS Planning and Post-Graduation MBA from IIM Ahmedabad. He has worked in various companies like Hindustan Lever Limited, Engineers India Limited, Sarawai Group, VAM Organic Chemicals, Anpro India Limited, Asia Infrastructure Limited, Jubilant Life Sciences, Jubilant Retail, Jubilant Infrastructure Limited and Aslam Business Consultants. Mr. D.D. Maheshwari is having a very wide versatile work experience in manufacturing, process development, product development, industrial engineering, project planning and implementation, as well as business development, technology transfer, supply chain, logistics, insurance, and he has also a rich experience of setting up new projects, including India's first chemical special economic zone in Bharuch, Gujarat. Currently, he is a life member of Indian Institute of Chemical Engineers, All India Management Association, Institute of Management Consultants of India, member of PMI Incorporation USA. He is on the board of few NGOs also and various committees of industry chambers such as PSBCCI, CII, FICCI, and he is the president of SHUB Foundation. We are really privileged to have the precious presence of Mr. D.D. Maheshwari as the guest of honor for this seminar, and I will request Mr. D.D. Maheshwari to please come on the dais and address the audience. Please welcome Mr. D.D. Maheshwari.
How many of you are MBA first year, MBA second year? Lack of interest. Okay, then what do you call it? MCA. Okay, and BBM. So what you have heard so far is all high level things about how to go about setting up your student. What I am going to tell and discuss is some ground travel realities, and it is basically meant for the students. Now, whether you work or you set up your own unit, there are some things which are common and which you need to focus on. And as far as setting up our own unit is concerned, you can even conceive of a unit while you are in college, immediately after your graduation, post-graduation, whatever you are studying. 2 years of work, 5 years work, 10 years work, 20 years work, or 30, even after 30 years, you can still have your own enterprise. So, the timing is not important. Timing is important in the sense that when you are ready for setting up your own unit. So, whatever is needed to set up your own unit, those basic things remain same, whether you work for yourself or you are working for somebody else. So, I thought I will share with you. First is, for the graduates, what are the kind of opportunities available? So, people who graduate can be management, MCA students, engineering graduates. So, you have opportunities available in the manufacturing area, in HR, sales, procurement, IT, software related things, services, accounting, finance, and then the option of further studies and then getting into academics is also there. So it depends on the individual interest as to what you wish to pursue once you complete the study.